Hello, my name is Kevin Metzger. I'm a 7th grade mathematics instructor. The purpose for this video is to give you an idea of exactly why I am in need of TI-84 graphing calculators for my Algebra 1 classroom. First of all, 7th grade Algebra 1 is pretty incredible. These students are the best and brightest almost in the country. So because of that, I like to challenge them as much as possible. So to just give you a brief example of how I can use these calculators, I'm going to jump right in. So we do systems of equations. Okay? In a system of equations, we have to solve for two variables, in particular x and y. So we can use an elimination method as you see described here. So in this case, I went after my y value in order to eliminate. Multiply my top equation by 2, my bottom equation here by 3. That allows me to eliminate my y's to keep this in terms of x. Then I'm able to solve for x, in this case it becomes -4. We then bring this value up. I chose to put -4 back into my top equation in order to solve for y. Y ends up being equal to -1. So because of that, -4, -1 is my final solution. Now this is about as far as we have to go in Algebra 1. But because these students are able to rise to occasions and really do some strong enrichment type problems, I decided to continue with our process of elimination and look at 3 variable systems. So that means we have 3 equations instead of 2, in this case x, y, and z. So I have these 3 equations, and using elimination methods I can then again solve for 3 variables instead of 2. So basically what I did was I went to eliminate y for both my second equation and my third equation. With some algebra to my equations, I'm able to eliminate from there as well as over here. So now I have 2 equations in terms of x and z. X plus 11z equals 25, and -2x minus 11z equals -28. Now, notice what happens here. When I combine these 2 equations, my z's actually eliminate, leaving me with x. So now I found x to be +3. This gets plugged back into one of these 2 to solve for z, which I found z to be 2. And then the value of x and z goes back into one of our original equations in order to solve for y. So I found y to be -1. So this is a solution in 3-dimensional space. X equals 3, y equals -1, and z equals 2. So this is where the graphing calculator can be a huge tool. So this is how I kind of introduced it. What the students received was something like this. This is the 3 variable system that we just went through. So the students went through, we went through it by hand as a class. Then at the bottom, this illustrates to them how we can use the calculator in order to accomplish this very easily, and that's through the use of a matrix. So what we did was we actually created a 3-row by 4-column matrix using the coefficients in front of the variables as well as the solution that we're equal to for each equation. So I'm going to move to the calculator. So this is an emulator software, which I kind of mentioned in my application. This allows me to set up the matrix as I just did, as I illustrated, and then with just a few simple buttons, the calculator can do all the work for us. What I mean by that is I can determine the same thing. So I'm selecting this RREF, which stands for Reduced Row Echelon Form. I submit my matrix A that I created, and in entering, I come up with the solution. So what this is, Reduced Row Echelon Form puts a leading 1 across my diagonals. These values at the end are the solutions. So what we actually notice is 1x equals 3, 1y equals -1, and 1z equals 2. Which are the same values that we found when we solved by hand. And again, that Word document that I provide, because of the software that I have, it allows me to provide the students a full breakdown of how they can work through step by step to do this on their own. So it's a phenomenal tool. Now this is just one way in which we can use this. I've used it several different ways up to this point in the year. However, because of the lack of availability of the TI-83 pluses that we have, it's a necessity for me to request and look for, seek out TI-84 plus calculators. That way I can issue them to the students and we can use this almost on a daily basis. Because again, I want to enrich this for my students. I want to make it worthwhile. So what we do is we see the basic conceptual Algebra 1, then we expand to either geometry or in this case Algebra 2. So what the concept I just went through, these students won't see for 2 more years. But it's a phenomenal thing. And that's why I'm requesting this funding. So I thank you for your time of watching my quick video, and I accept any funding that you will provide. and thank you for it.